Ancient Nalanda University. The highly formalized Vedic university, which was deliberately termed as the Buddhist university. Let me show the truth. In every corner of Bharat, there were massive Vedic universities and knowledge centers that were highly active for thousands of years. Now let's talk about the Nalanda University. Nalanda was not only an academic campus, but also it was the sanctuary of wisdom sprawled across 14 hectares, encompassing temples, meditation chambers, even Buddhist monasteries. But who nurtured the seeds of Nalanda? A seal was discovered from Nalanda archaeological site, which makes it clear that it was Hindu Emperor Kumar Gupta from Gupta dynasty who founded the Nalanda University. And his coins shows that he was the core devotee of Bhagavan Vishnu. Later Nalanda flourished under the successors of Gupta dynasty. For instance, the other clay seal of Nalanda, which again mentions the Hindu king Kumar Gupta III. And also this Sanskrit seal depicts the Vaishnav mark on forehead and also the Garuda Vahana of Bhagavan Vishnu. Again, the most notable patron of Nalanda was the Hindu king Harshavardhana, who was also the core devotee of Bhagavan Shiva. In fact, the greatest brain of that era, the Vedic scholar Aryabhatta, who invented the modern place value system, was the head of Nalanda University. Also other Vedic scholars like Brahmagupta, who founded the arithmetic, were prominent figures of Nalanda. Nalanda is wrongly perceived as Buddhist center. Its excavation has unraveled the actual truth. Among the artifacts discovered by the SI, one finds numerous sculptures of Hindu deities, which includes the depiction of Surya, Shiv Parvati, Vishnu and many more. Nalanda was the global epicenter of wisdom. It accommodated over 10,000 students from all over the world, including China, Greece, Persia and Tibet. And also Tibetan accounts unveil that it had the huge library complex named Dharmaganj. It's a Sanskrit name which means reservoir or treasury of Dharma. And this library complex included 3 9-story huge buildings which stored over 9 million manuscripts. It was the place where monks transcribed books, kindling the flames of knowledge in the hearts of individual scholars. The curriculum in Nalanda encompassed the knowledge of Vedas and 6 orthodox Hindu philosophies, including the ancient texts that were given by Vedic sages. And also later the Madhyamika Mahayana Buddhist philosophy heavily influenced Nalanda and its scholars. Nalanda was the center of learning, so Buddhist philosophy was also taught along with Vedic philosophies. No doubt, Madhyamika Buddhist philosophy was flourished from Nalanda. Also different Buddhist texts were composed inside Nalanda complex. But it does not mean the entire university was dedicated to Buddhists. In fact, Sanskrit was the main language used in Nalanda. The Chinese travelers, be it Huenzhang or Fahyuan or Aizen, whoever came to Nalanda to get the knowledge, had to study Sanskrit texts, including the Sanskrit grammar treatise Ashtadhyay that was composed by Maharshi Panini. And it's mentioned by Chinese traveler Aizen himself. Even Huenzhang had taken 600 plus Sanskrit manuscripts to China. Also Aizen had taken more than 400 Sanskrit manuscripts, amounting around 500,000 Sanskrit shlokas. Also, all the seals and inscriptions that are found in Nalanda are in Sanskrit language. After the Nalanda was destroyed by Muslim invader Bakhtiyar Khilji, the haunting chronicle of Nalanda's destruction was recorded in the contemporary book, Tabkat-e-Nasri, that was written by Persian historian Minhaj-e-Siraj. And he clearly mentions that all the professors and scholars of the Nalanda University were Brahmins. And forces of Khilji killed every single Brahmin of Nalanda to destroy the ancient knowledge base. Even Aizen himself said that Nalanda was full of Brahmins, who could even memorize more than 1 lakh Sanskrit verses. Also Nagarjuna, the founder of Buddhist Mahayana philosophy, was Brahmin by birth. Every single Buddhist scholar of Nalanda, who composed different literatures, were actually Brahmins by birth. Now coming to the context, why Nalanda was labeled as Buddhist center. As all the ancient manuscripts were burnt in Nalanda, so now we have mainly the writings of Chinese travelers to describe the environment of Nalanda University. While describing Nalanda, Chinese traveler Huenzhang also described the patron of Nalanda, Emperor Harshavardhana, as the Buddhist emperor. But it's absolutely bogus, because the seals of Harshavardhana clearly depict that he was the follower of Vedic traditions. Also, his land inscriptions mention him as the Paramamaheshwara or the grand devotee of Shiva. His court writer Banabhatta also described him as the devotee of Shiva. So Chinese traveler propagated the story according to his own wish. This was not the first time that one Hindu emperor was described as the Buddhist. It's propagated that Emperor Kanishka held the 4th Buddhist Council in 72 AD. But the fun fact is, Kanishka was not even born at that time. Although Kushans actually migrated to Bharat, but later they got mixed with the indigenous Bharatiya culture. The inscription of Kanishka's own statue says, Maharaj Rajadhiraj Devputra Kanishk, which clearly shows he was the follower of ancient Bharatiya tradition. Then his coins depicts Bhagavan Shiva and other Hindu gods numerous times, along with Greek and Iranian gods. And hardly 1% of his coins depict the Buddha. Also the father of Kanishka was great devotee of Bhagavan Shiva. Even the successor of Kanishka was named after Bhagavan Vasudev. Not only emperors, even monks like Bodhidharma, who was actually the Hindu prince from Pallava dynasty, later became the expert in Vedic martial art Kalaripayattu. He taught this technique to Chinese people, which later became known as Shaolin Kung Fu. He was also termed as Buddhist monk. If that was not enough, then just go through the history of the greatest temple in the world. The Angkor Wat temple. The temple which was once dedicated to Bhagavan Vishnu, also turned into Buddhist temple. So as we could see, Nalanda was founded by Hindu kings. It was also patronized by Hindu dynasties. The professors and scholars of Nalanda were all Brahmins. The language that was used in Nalanda was Sanskrit. The Vedic philosophy was taught in Nalanda, along with Mahayana philosophy, that too was founded by Brahmin. After destroying Nalanda, those who were killed were Brahmins. Also recent archaeological revelations push its inception, even before the birth of Buddha. But still the world history highlighted Nalanda as merely Buddhist center of learning. But wait. Was there really any difference between the Buddhists and Hindus at that era? As we all know, Buddha was from Hindu Kshatriya family. Not only him. All his disciples who preached the Buddhist philosophy were all Brahmins or Kshatriyas by birth. But no doubt, later they had rejected the core Vedic beliefs and followed the path of Buddha. In short, Buddhism was just another philosophy of this land Bharat, other than orthodox Hindu Vedic philosophies. But at the beginning, there was no such dispute between them. That's the reason even some Hindu emperors patronized Buddhism as well. For example, another great patron of Nalanda was the Pala emperors. They had embraced Buddhism, but also their inscriptions mention them as the follower of Hindu gods. Also they had sculpted both the sculptures of Buddha and Hindu gods as well. That's all for today. Do subscribe Bhagavad Knowledge.